So some of you may have heard of the term Scrum. Scrum is known as a formation technique used in rugby games. The team uses this formation technique in order to move their ball forward towards their goals. Another example of Scrum is a framework that's used to manage complex development or product development, mostly seen in software development. So today I'm going to talk about the type of Scrum that's used for product development. I first became Scrum Master certified in September of last year, and after implementing and using Scrum myself in the client services service desk department, I've witnessed and experienced firsthand the benefits and the results of Scrum. So today I'll first talk about just a brief history of Scrum, the basic components of Scrum, and the benefits of Scrum. So Scrum was created by Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland. They first presented Scrum at the UPSLA conference in Houston, Texas in 1995. It was founded upon empirical process control theory, and the name was inherited from two acknowledged Japanese management thinkers. So one of the basic components of Scrum is a user story. A user story is written by any member of the team. It also states what the team wants to accomplish or what their needs are in order to meet their goal. A good example of a user story is, as a speech communication student, I want to pass the course so that I can further meet the requirements of my degree. A user story is always written in the form of, as a user, whatever your role is of the team, and what your desire or your feature is. So as a student, I want to pass this course so that I can meet the requirements of my degree. User stories also consist of acceptance criteria. These are the requirements or the tasks that need to be completed in order to constitute the user story as being complete. So for my example user story, I would need to first complete the course assignments on time, and then I would need to make an overall passing grade. Acceptance criteria has been met when the user story is completed and can obviously be moved over into done on a Scrum board. Epics are also user stories, but they are much larger and need to be broken down into more manageable user stories. You can do this by putting them into parts 1, parts 2, or parts 3, or however many parts it takes in order to complete a epic user story. And they generally take several sprints in order to complete those. A buffer is a given user story in each sprint. It encompasses any unforeseen issues or impediments that can occur. It also encompasses anything that prevents the team from completing or meeting the goal of their sprint. A Kaizen is also a given user story for each sprint. It's a Japanese term, Kai meaning change and Zen meaning good or for the better. So in each sprint, your team wants to have a Kaizen in order for continual improvement. Your team wants to continue to improve in each and every sprint. So the Scrum board is what consists of all of your user stories and your user stories that you work on each and every sprint. It consists of a do, doing, and done columns, which happens each and every sprint as well. It notes the duration of the sprint, which is usually about 2 weeks long, but some sprints can go up to 4 weeks long. And it's a tangible board so that your team can continue to see on a daily basis the progress that they're making as they complete their user stories. The backlog is also known as the product backlog. It's where you keep all of your user stories that have been written, and the acceptance criteria is usually written on the back of those user stories. Your user stories are pulled into what's called a sprint backlog when your team collectively decides on these are the user stories that we want to complete for the next 2 weeks. And then your do, doing, and done columns of your sprint board, although they're pretty obvious, the first column is of your sprint for the do are stories that you need to work on. The doing column are the stories that are currently in progress of being worked on or completed. And then of course the third column, the done column, are where the user stories go once you've completed them throughout the sprint. So one of the biggest benefits of Scrum is the daily stand-up. It's also known as the daily Scrum. This is a 15-minute meeting that occurs at the same time every business day. It includes all members of your team, and all the members of the team must stand up. Each person states what they worked on yesterday, what they are going to work on today, and what they plan on working on tomorrow, and also if they have any impediments that are preventing them from working on the user stories of the sprint in order to meet the team's goals. The good thing about the daily stand-up is it replaces your staff meetings. Those can sometimes last about an hour to 2 hours a week. And the good thing about a daily stand-up is that you're constantly in the know of what everybody in your team is working on, because you meet for 15 minutes each and every day. Everybody goes over what they have going on, and if there's any unforeseen issues that are preventing members of your team from working on user stories. So as Mark Twain once said, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. The secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming tasks into more manageable tasks and then starting on the first one. So the benefits of Scrum, it allows the team to break down complex plans or a complex project into more manageable tasks. It enhances the team's communication through the daily stand-up, and it allows the team to accomplish the projects or other business aside from their daily work. As a result, the team becomes self-organizing and improves their performance collectively. So applying a simple framework, just like Scrum, can be rewarding. As Steve Jobs once said, it takes not just one person in the business world to make the change, but instead a whole team. So just like rugby, any team can apply Scrum to move their team forward to their expected goal.